Okay, let's take a look at adding some flair or some artistic balance to our calendars. I have a calendar here that I've created that has a picture of a flower on it, and it's a monthly calendar. I've also opened the same image, and let me just bring them side by side here in Photoshop. And I can take this image that I used to create the calendar, and all I'm going to do is drag it over and drop it on my calendar project. Doesn't matter exactly where, we just need to get it into that file. Now let's focus our attention on the calendar and on the layers that we have. You'll notice I dragged that image in so that it's almost at the bottom, but I have the white layer 1 at the very bottom. What I want to do is I want to take this new image layer that I brought in and stretch it so that it covers the entire calendar. And I'm going to do that by using the transform tool. You can access the transform tool up in the edit menu, or you can do Control or Command T and get the transform handles. You pull them as you want to cover the image, commit that, and now we've got the image as the background to the calendar. Now in this case we have some dark areas in there and some distracting highlights or details in the background, so we can't really read the calendar. Let's come back over to the palette or to the layers panel, and you'll look, and right above the layer that I just brought in, I have a layer called calendar background. Now by default that's turned off, but you'll see if I turn that on, I now have put a white background behind the calendar grid. Make it a lot easier to work with. So if you want a darker background or a more detailed background like the one we just brought in, then you can certainly keep this turned on. Let me turn it off a second, because what I want to do is I'm going to take this image that we just brought in and make a change to it. I'm going to come up to the filters panel, go to blur, and I'm going to go to motion blur and really apply a pretty strong blur to that image. And now with that image all blurred, I can come up to the opacity slider in the layers panel, and I'm going to take that down to about 50%. So what happens now is I have a background of colors and textures that complement the image that's on the calendar. If this is a little too distracting for the calendar, once again you can turn that calendar background on and get something so that the individual calendar grid is very clear. Either way, adding backgrounds to your calendars is very simple, and it's the only limitation is your own imagination.